I remember when we were in Kenya, one of the neat things that we kind of heard from somebody was when we spent a month before we did anything or went anywhere out in the community, kind of getting trained with the other volunteers we were with. And we were with kind of the local synod office, and I guess you would call him the bishop of his area. And he was talking with us about how he appreciated us coming, but he was also reflecting on what it means to be a missional person or a missional church. And he was talking about how there have been many missionaries from America who have gone to Kenya and other places in Africa, but how recently it seemed like it was drying up a little and there weren't as many anymore. And far from being a discouraging tone, he just wanted to remind us of something. And what he said was that when you are a church or when you are a Christian, it's always important to breathe in, but also to breathe out. The children's sermon today kind of goes from what he said. He said, as a Christian and as a church, we always have to inhale God's blessings. That's very important. But if we don't exhale, we will suffocate. And that message kind of struck home with me. And I think in kind of a way of just getting the tone of what this means, I'd like us all to kind of inhale God's blessings and then exhale. So on the count of 3, we can inhale. 1, 2, 3, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Well, the story I'm going to focus on today is the story in Acts. It's the story of the Ascension. It's kind of a funny story. Jesus takes his followers to some location, and the last thing he says with them is when they say, "Hey, when are you going to come back?" Because he's warned them that he's about to leave. "When are you coming back, Jesus?" And his answer is basically, "You don't need to worry about that. Don't worry about when I'm coming back. That's for God the Father to worry about. All you need to worry about is being the ministry to my people and spreading the gospel." That's the last thing he says to them according to Acts. And then he kind of floats away, just starts floating to the sky and disappears in the clouds. And all the while, his disciples and followers are just kind of looking up. And you can imagine they kind of look funny, and it's a pretty amazing experience just watching someone disappear through the clouds. And who knows how long they're there, but I think we could assume quite a few minutes, maybe even 30 minutes, 40 minutes. But they've been lingering for a while, just kind of looking at the sky. Who knows, maybe they're waiting for Jesus to return right away. They're just kind of sitting there scratching their head. And a funny thing happens. It says men appear, but I think the implication is that some angels appear from God, and they say, "Why are you looking at the sky?" Well, the question I'd like to ask today to start out with is, why are they asking the disciples, why are they looking at the sky? They should know why they're looking at the sky. Someone just flew up in the air and disappeared. If I was there, I'd be like, maybe because someone just flew? I don't know, that's a pretty good reason to look at the sky. So it's kind of a weird, silly question. Why are you looking at the sky when your Christ just flew away? But that's what they asked. And so as they asked a weird question, I suppose it's up to us to figure out, why are they asking the disciples, why are you looking at the sky? Well, I'd like to suggest to everyone today that the reason they said, why are you looking at the sky, was kind of a rhetorical question to get the disciples focused on balancing their Christian lives. I think as Christians and as followers of God and as a church, we always kind of have these two angles we're working with our Christian lives. One of the angles is looking up to God for inspiration. And I think that's what the disciples were doing with Christ when they were looking at the sky. They were looking up to God because He had inspired them, because He was amazing and He had been their leader. And He was doing a miracle even as they were looking. And I'm sure they were inspired and amazed. Looking up to God is all about us attending to our relationship with God, and we do it through things like going